So the MLB All Star Game rosters have been announced, and of course, there are some players who somehow were left off these teams. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over the 10 biggest snubs, in my opinion, for the 2024 All Star Game. Now, if you're watching this video a couple days from now, they might have been added to the team already because of injuries and opt-outs, but as of the time of recording, which is Sunday night, July 7th, these 10 guys are not on the All Star team, and it's pretty insane. Big shout out to you guys for hitting the like goal on the last video. I really appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like on today's video if you enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. And let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think is the biggest snub from the All-Star Game? Let's get going into it. For the first snub in today's video, it's gotta be Brandon Nimmo. It's actually shocking he did not make the All-Star team. Brandon Nimmo right now has the second highest F4 in Major League Baseball for National League outfielders at 2.8. That's higher than Jackson Merrill, Tatis, Brian Reynolds, Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, everybody except Jurickson Profar. He has a 137 WRC+, which puts him third best in the National League amongst qualified outfilders, and he's having a really good year. While the average is down for Nimmo at 250, he's getting on base almost 30% of the time. He has a 443 slugging, walking 13%, striking out 24, playing good defense out in the corner. Again, I know the Mets' season has been weird, but it's kind of insane that Brandon Nimmo is not on this team when he has simply been statistically one of the best outfielders in the National League, and it's not even debatable. Another outfielder that got snubbed, but this time it was in the American League. How about Anthony Santander? Santander has 22 home runs on the season. That is the second most among American League outfielders. He just went crazy in the month of June, where he hit an insane amount of home runs. Now, granted, the slash line doesn't look great of a 233 average, 300 on base, but that many home runs, along with just the fact that he's been one of the better outfielders in the American League, I'm pretty shocked that Santander, who's on one of the best teams in baseball as well, has not made the cut, especially with what he did in the month of June. The story's been great. The Orioles have been amazing, and he's been really good, especially the last couple months. Shocking that a guy with 22 homers and 56 RBIs, among the top in the American League, doesn't make the team. Another pretty big snub quietly was Josh Smith of the Texas Rangers. The fact that Marcus Semien made it over him, I get because of the position factor. Josh Smith has played mostly third base, while Semien plays second, and Isaac Paredes has to make it over Josh Smith because the Rays need a lone representative. But Josh Smith has the argument to make it over both those guys just in general. Smith on the season has a 293 average, 386 on base, which is among the highest in the American League, a 451 slugging for a WRC+ at 139. He's even showed some pop this year with 7 homers, 34 RBIs, playing good defense, getting on base, even stealing a couple bags. Josh Smith has been really good, and I think has an argument to make the All-Star team, especially when his teammate's having a worse year and made it in Marcus Semien. Shout out Josh Smith. Didn't know he was this good of a ball player. He really is showing up this season. Okay, last Mets player I have to talk about here. How does Francisco Lindor not make the All-Star team again? This is actually crazy now. Every year he's been on the Mets, essentially. He hasn't made the All-Star team despite being deserving outside of one season. This year, among qualified shortstop in the National League, Francisco Lindor has the third highest F4 at 3.3, only behind Elly De La Cruz and Mookie Betts. Now, he might make the team because Mookie Betts is going to be out with an injury, but his numbers are just simply better than CJ Abrams. He's a Gold Glove fielder, 116 WRC+, and this is all with having a horrendous start to the season for the first month. 15 homers, 43 RBIs, 16 stolen bases. All those numbers are basically comparable to CJ Abrams with elite defense in the field. I can't believe that Lindor did not make the team. I mean, I can believe it, but I can't. Fun fact from a dude named Alex on Twitter who said the highest F4 by non-All-Star since 2020 in the first half, Francisco Lindor is 3 of the top 4. It's crazy how he never makes the team. But I get it. His own fan base doesn't even like him for some reason. How do you expect the national audience to vote for him? This next pitcher, I feel like, is not getting enough talk about being subbed off the All-Star team, and that's Jack Flaherty. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Jack Flaherty is low-key having an amazing season out in Detroit. They fixed him. They got him back to being a top pitcher in the game. So far this season, in 89 innings, 15 starts, he has 115 strikeouts, an ERA at 3.24, a whip at 1.00. If you look at the K to walk ratio, he has the second highest in the American League at 28.9%, only behind Garrett Crochet. Striking out 33% of the batters he's faced, walking only 4%. He's the 7th ranked pitcher in the American League in terms of FIP. If you look at Sierra, he's number 2 in Sierra at 2.49, again, tied with Garrett Crochet. It's pretty insane that Flaherty got snubbed off this list, considering he's just been dominant all year. And then on the reliever side in the American League, this is another name I'm not hearing a lot about. How about Kade Smith? Clay Holmes made this team. I don't necessarily know if he was the most worthy candidate, but look at the year that Kade Smith has had. He's been pretty disgusting. While his ERA is a little bit high at 2.56, he has a 1.67 FIP, which is the lowest in the American League. He has the 4th lowest Sierra at 2.13, ahead of guys like Clay Holmes and even his teammate Emmanuel Clase. And Kade Smith is striking out almost 35% of the batters he's facing while walking only 6%. For a K to walk ratio ratio at 28.7, which is 4th best in the American League. I actually don't know how they missed him. He's been incredible, and I think he's totally a snub for a Cleveland Guardians team that would not be nearly as successful if it wasn't for how lights out their bullpen has been, and Kade Smith, one of those arms. I'm going to flip it on over to the National League side, complain about a reliever that didn't make it. How does Trevor Migel not make this team? Seriously, how does Trevor Migel not make the All-Star team? Trevor Migel has the 7th lowest ERA in the National League at 1.59. There's 2 guys that made the All-Star team with better ERAs, Tanner Scott and Jeff Hoffman, but even their peripheral numbers really aren't as good as Trevor Migel. Migel is 6th in the National League in FIP. He has a 22.1% K to walk ratio, and again, the Brewers are in first place. This is a team that's playing really well, and he has been lights out on the mound. Nobody's getting hits off of him. Nobody's scoring runs. He's been one of the better relievers in the game, and I scratch my head and wonder how he didn't make it when all the numbers across the board, including ERA and normie stats, are also incredible. Genuinely one of the worst snubs of the entire All-Star game, Jordan Westberg of the Baltimore Orioles. Now again, Westberg was snubbed probably because of his position. Technically, he's played more third base than second base this year, but he's played 35 games at second, and his numbers are just simply way better than Marcus Semien. I mean, they're just actually not even close. When you look at qualified American League second baseman, he actually has the best numbers in the game. 2.8 F4 is tied for the most with Jose Altuve, who of course is starting. He's hitting 282 with a 329 on base, 509 slugging for WRC plus at 137, numbers that are just significantly better than Marcus Semien across the board. And again, his team is really good. He's a part of the reason why the Orioles are one of the best teams in baseball. So for me to leave Jordan Westberg out because technically maybe he's more of a third baseman than second baseman, and then including Marcus Semien, even though he's been a below average hitter this year, none of it makes sense to me. I don't know how he was left off the team. He probably is the biggest snub, maybe outside of Brandon Nimmo. For this next snub, we're going back to the National League West to talk about how Christian Walker didn't make the All-Star team. Like, hello? What? Now, again, Bryce Harper is probably going to miss the game with an injury, so Christian Walker is most likely going to take his spot. But the fact that Christian Walker did not get one of the original spots is insane. F4 among National League first basemen, 3rd at 2.9, only behind Freddie Freeman and Bryce Harper. I know Pete Alonso made it because he was the lone Mets representative, but it should have been Brandon Nimmo, and then Pete Alonso doesn't make it, and then Christian Walker takes his spot. Walker has 22 home runs on the year, 64 RBIs, both of which lead all National League first basemen, a WRC plus at 138, and he's great defensively at first. There's no reason Christian Walker shouldn't be on this All-Star team. I fully expect him to be on by the end of the week, and if not, we riot. Okay, so I said we were going to do 10 players. We're doing 11. I lied. This next player, though, second baseman for the Milwaukee Brewers, Bryce Terang, has so much beef. Luis Ariz made the team over Bryce Terang. There's just simply no way that makes any sense unless you were looking at batting average and batting average only. Bryce Terang has 2.4 F4 this year, which is the second most among National League second basemen. That is more than triple the amount of F4 that Luis Ariz has accumulated this year, despite hitting 30 points higher in his batting average. You want to know why? Their on-base percentage is the same. Bryce Terang has a higher slugging percentage, a higher WRC+, and he is a significantly better base runner, stealing 28 bases this year, along with great defensively at second base. To me, it's absolutely asinine that Bryce Terang was left off this for Luis Ariz, who's a hits merchant. If I'm Bryce Terang, I'm throwing a fit. There's just no way that I don't make this All-Star team. He's having an amazing year. You gotta reward him. And by the way, his average 288, it's not like he's hitting 220. He's having an all-star season, should have made the team. And then last but certainly not least, I'm going back to the Washington Nationals. I think Jake Irvin got snubbed. Again, when looking at National League pitchers, it's hard to find many that have been better than Jake Irvin this year. 4th in ERA amongst National League pitchers at 2.8. He has a FIP inside the top 10 at 3.39. He's striking out nearly 23% of the batters he's facing, walking under 6% for a K to walk ratio of around 17%. He's not one of the best pitchers in baseball by any means, but he's been really good this year, and I think you need to reward these kinds of players. Again, he might make the team because there's going to be some pitchers that have to tap out because of the scheduling conflict. But Jake Irvin has a legit beef as the 4th lowest ERA in the National League. He should be asking the question, how did I not make it? What else do you need me to do? So there they are, the 10 biggest snubs from the MLB All Star Game. I'd love to know who you think is the biggest snub down in the comments section below. Don't forget to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description as always. That's all I got for you guys today. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next video. Bye!